scrappy friends. Welcome to my channel. This is Hannah Lemieux. I know I don't say my last name enough. So if you are new to my channel, my name is Hannah Lemieux. My last name is French. It's pronounced without, there's an X there, but it's silent. Anyway, I have a scrap bin series that I am doing, and right now I am looking for papers that have dots. So I'm just going to get right in and kind of talk about what I'm looking at and my thought process while I'm picking these. So this first video, you're just going to see me picking out papers and talking through this process. So pretty much I am just looking through the papers and seeing which ones have dots. This was what I thought I would use as my starting point to just finding papers for the layout that I'm going to do. I already have a picture in mind, but I'm not really worried about the papers matching with the picture because it's a black and white. So, like I said, I am just looking through and just finding ones with dots. And in a minute, and I am looking to see if the dots are close together. I want a variety of the different sizes at this point, and I will end up changing gears because I go on a little tangent. It's this little journey. So I seen that piece of vellum that had like watercolors, and I really like that. And I see the cameras and they have circles in the camera, so I thought that would be a fun way to incorporate a dot. And of course, this part of this is hanging off, so that's why my hand is there. So now I'm just using one hand. I am sorry if this is a little like kind of skewed. It was hard to fit that whole thing. And I thought about using those copper dots, but I just thought that it was a little too much, like a little too busy. And I will be going back through all these in a few minutes and cutting down. Now, here I see these two, and I believe one is Dear Lizzie, and they both might be Dear Lizzie, but they're from different collections. But I'm still thinking, oh, I want to stick to this circle thought process because that was what I started with, but I really, really, really love that floral and the way that yellow looked with the floral, and picked up the pops of, and I think I see more of that paper, and that's when I decide, you know what, sometimes you got to just go with your gut, and my gut was telling me to go with that floral. So at this point I'm starting to think about colors that are in those flowers. So there's 2 tones of pink, and there's a little hint of yellow, and there's some other hints of some other colors, like a little bit of green, 2 hints of like green in it. So I'm kind of looking for like neutral. So I picked out that wood grain. It's really, really dark, and I thought the dark would go really well with that. And that had 2 tones of pink, so I thought that maybe that striped would work well. And there's this blue like lined paper, and I thought maybe I could incorporate that, kind of playing off of the green, but I wasn't sure about it. And this is the process that I go through when I'm thinking. I'm looking for colors that are going to match. I'm looking for shapes that might look well with it. I always am also trying to think of a neutral colors that also will go well with that paper, especially when you're talking about using a certain pattern. You want to mix up your patterns. And obviously I was going to start with just a dot. I like that Amy Tan paper because it has like a peachy color and it has dots in it, and I still want to kind of keep with using some dots in the layout because that was what I first thought. I thought maybe that lined paper from Notes and Things would be a good neutral as well with the craft color. I thought that gives it a little vintage color. There's the blue, and that blue paper had yellow dots. It's kind of hard to see probably. And I'm getting near the bottom of my bin, and I thought, I've really been liking that black and white, that classic feel with different patterns. So I'm thinking maybe I could use that. But like I said, at this point, I'm just kind of not sure exactly where I'm going to go with it. But I'm starting to put papers back. and maybe think about some of the first few papers that I flipped through. I remember that there was that yellow in that tag, and I thought that maybe I could play off of the yellow a little bit. And there's another piece from Amy Tan. I think that's from Stitched. So I found that first white and yellow stripe that I really liked. I also thought that maybe that striped paper, I think that's Fancy Pants. And then there's another like teal color that I thought maybe the teals would work with the greens. And at this point, I don't mind picking out a few extra papers because I'm going to dwindle this down because obviously it's just for one layout. So it doesn't need to be crazy. I really liked that green. I thought that green watercolor paper from We Are Memory Keepers would be really a natural feel because of the flowers and the watercolor. It'd give it, though I don't use it, but that's kind of my thought process of why I picked this. So I know that these two papers are the main inspiration for what I go with. So I'm thinking about what papers will go with those two papers, and I really like that striped paper from Fancy Pants, though I don't end up using it on the original. I like that hot pink. I really think that that'll play off of the hot pink and the flowers. So I'm going to keep that. I liked those, and I kept that chevron, and I really like that Maggie Holmes paper. I like the vintage feel, and I'm going to keep that tag because it's yellow. I also keep that for a minute, and I'm going to keep the camera thinking maybe I can cut out the camera. Some of the colors, there's a yellow in there, there's some different color pinks and reds, so I was thinking maybe I could use that to play on it. That's a Chamel white and like cream, and I thought that the cream would look really good because that Dear Lizzie floral is more of a cream based instead of a white. I really like that mint and that Maggie Holmes. I think that's Maggie Holmes confetti maybe. And then, so I'm just kind of picking out a few last papers from this. I thought maybe I still would like to use that vellum because it gives a different texture, and I really like the two greens. I thought that that would match really well with the green in the leaves. I really want to use that because I love that paper, but it doesn't end up on the layout at all. So here I have a smaller section of papers, but I still need to dwindle this down because it still is only one layout. And even though I know I like to use layers and I like to have more papers than I think I'm going to use, I have to be realistic about what I'm picking. So I know I want to keep the Maggie Holmes. I really like that chevron. I really love the mint in that. It brings a different color. I'm going to keep that Chamel, though I don't end up using that on the regular paper, and I keep that too, and it looks so good. Like, looking back on it, I wish I had kept it, but I just couldn't find a way for it to work, and I'm going to keep that wood grain, and I am going to put those cameras to the side, and I think that's all that I keep. I kind of put a couple off to the side thinking maybe I'll use it. So don't forget to check out my layout and see how I actually put all these together. I'll see you guys later. Bye.